Dans le monde de la diplomatie et de la politique, il est rare de voir un chef religieux s'avancer sans crainte sur la scène internationale, s'adressant au Parlement et admonestant les dirigeants mondiaux. Pourtant, Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad, le cinquième calife, chef spirituel de la communauté musulmane Ahmadiyya, défie les idées reçues. Pendant près de 20 ans, il a porté le message islamique de justice, de paix et de protection des faibles dans les lieux sacrés du pouvoir. Des grandes salles du Parlement britannique à l'emblématique Capitole, sa voix puissante résonne, exhortant les dirigeants à emprunter le chemin de la droiture et à éviter les périls de la guerre et la menace imminente d'une guerre mondiale. Découvrons ensemble ce voyage extraordinaire et revenons sur l'impact profond du cinquième calife et sur sa détermination à s'adresser au Parlement.
खिलाफत क्या है एक फजले अज़ीम रब रहमा है सरासर नूर और रहमत इल्म और हिकमत का गुलिस्तान है।
Commençons par ce voyage remarquable qui débute au prestigieux Capitole des États-Unis. C'est un jour gravé dans l'histoire. Le 27 juin 2012, le cinquième calife du Messie a prononcé un vibrant plaidoyer en faveur de la paix lors d'une conférence de presse mémorable tenue au Capitole. En présence d'une assemblée internationale de médias, il a souligné avec éloquence l'importance cruciale d'une véritable égalité et a répondu à leurs questions qui incitent à la réflexion.
The truth is that peace and justice are inseparable. You cannot have one without the other. And certainly, this principle is something that all wise and intelligent people understand. Islam has drawn our attention to various means for peace. It requires absolute justice. It requires truthful testimony to always be given. It requires that our glances are not cast enviously in the direction of the wealth of others. And it requires that the developed nations put aside their own vested interests and instead help and serve the less developed and poorer nations with a truly selfless attitude and spirit.
Madam Speaker, it's my honor today to welcome to the House of Representatives His Holiness Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad. He is with us today in the gallery.
Le 4 décembre 2012, le Parlement européen a accueilli un événement important. Le cinquième calife a prononcé un discours historique à Bruxelles. En présence d'invités de marque représentant 30 pays, le calife a souligné l'importance de la paix à travers l'unité et a abordé des questions préoccupantes, notamment la croissance de l'immigration et la quête de paix dans le monde.
The cruelties must be stopped because if they are allowed to spread, then the flames of hatred will surely engulf the entire world to such an extent that people will soon forget about the troubles caused by the current economic crisis. Instead, they will face a much more horrifying state of affairs. There will be such a huge loss of life that we cannot even comprehend or imagine. Thus, it is the duty of the European countries who suffered great losses during the Second World War to learn from their past and save the world from destruction. To do this, they must fulfill the requirements of justice and be willing to accept their responsibilities.
Au cours de son voyage, Le calife a honoré de sa présence les chambres du Parlement britannique le 11 juin 2013, à l'occasion du centenaire de la communauté musulmane Ahmadiyya au Royaume-Uni. Une réception remarquable s'en est suivie, attirant d'éminents invités, dont le vice-premier ministre, des secrétaires d'État et des parlementaires. Dans son discours, le calife a souligné la profonde loyauté, le dévouement et l'engagement inébranlable de la communauté Ahmadiyya en faveur de la paix.
Islam puts so much emphasis on the importance of religious tolerance that it will be impossible to find such high standards anywhere else. Other people tend to believe that until other religions are proven to be false, they are unable to prove the truth of their religion. Islam's approach is very different because it teaches that whilst Islam is a true religion sent for all of mankind, the truth is that all prophets of God were sent to all people and nations of the world. Therefore, Islam is completely against compulsion and extremism, and rather it advocates peace and harmony at all levels of society.
Well, I think that the community has contributed a very great deal to the wider life of community here in the United Kingdom, and in so many different ways. I was struck by the remarks he made about the importance of peace in the community and the importance of being part of the wider community and the work that is done within the wider community, and a very clear message, I think, for all of us as to the part that we should be playing.
Well, I've seen it in my own constituency where the Ahmadi community are very welcome residents, and I think what they've really done is helped a lot of us to know people of Islam in a very personal way, and I think we've seen the values of peace, which frankly are not always the images you get across the media, and we've seen those from the Ahmadi people that we've all met in our own constituencies, and I really would commend the community for their close engagement with politicians of all parties, and for what they've done to spread a very different message about Islam, which I think has been very inspirational.
En novembre 2013, Sa Sainteté a entrepris un voyage important au Parlement national de la Nouvelle-Zélande, où le calife a prononcé un discours convaincant appelant à la paix mondiale. Lançant un vibrant appel à la justice, il a mis en lumière les conséquences dévastatrices de la guerre moderne et a souligné l'importance vitale d'établir l'harmonie dans le monde.
And so, as the head of the worldwide Muslim community, it is my duty that I should draw the attention of the world towards establishing peace. I consider this my obligation because Islam's very meaning is peace and security. If certain Muslim countries carry out or promote hate-filled acts of extremism, it should not lead to the conclusion that Islamic teachings promote disorder or strife.
It was a very important message, and I think that it is a message that can be welcomed and accepted by everyone.
Well, it was very inspirational. I came here not really knowing what to expect. I knew a little bit about His Holiness and the message he has, but I found it very inspirational.
दीन अहमद का जो आज सालार है, तीर हाथों में उसके न तलवार है, साथ फौजों की कोई न यलगार है, इब्न मंसूर की एक ललकार है। दीन अहमद का जो आज सालार है, तीर हाथों में उसके न तलवार है, साथ फौजों की कोई न यलगार है, इब्न मंसूर की एक ललकार है।
En février 2014, la prestigieuse conférence des religions du monde s'est tenue à Guildhall, à Londres, marquant un événement historique. Cette conférence a été l'occasion pour le 5e calife du Messie de prononcer un profond discours sur le thème « Le Dieu au XXIe siècle ». D'éminents chefs religieux, hommes politiques et diplomates du monde entier se sont rassemblés pour écouter avec intérêt son discours instructif.
My faith in my religion increases when I read the prophecies and guidance of the Quran and of the Holy Prophet, peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, about the latter days. Both the Quran and the Holy Prophet, peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, prophesied that the time would come when Muslims would forget the true teachings of Islam and would not follow the Quran. They further prophesied that those Muslims who would call themselves religious clerics and leaders would in reality be the source of strife, corruption, and disorder. This is exactly what we are witnessing today. As I have said, when I observe all of this, my faith does not diminish, but rather increases. I do not become frustrated, and nor do I lose hope, because where the Quran and the Holy Prophet, peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, prophesied about the dire need of today's world, they also gave glad tidings that for the sake of reviving true Islam, a person would be sent from amongst the Muslims who would be the promised Messiah and the Imam Mahdi, the guided one. He would be sent to end all religious wars and at every level of society would transform all forms of cruelty into peace and harmony. He would work tirelessly to fulfill these noble objectives and would infuse the true spirit of Islam amongst his followers.
I think it's not so many years ago that people thought faith had had its day and was on the way out, so I think that's been proved to be decisively wrong.
Coming together like this and hearing each other from different faith traditions and hearing the common notion that we all strive for peace is quite significant.
En septembre 2014, l'Irlande a reçu le chef de la communauté musulmane Ahmadiyya lors de sa visite au Parlement national, le Oireachtas à Leinster House à Dublin. Lors de sa rencontre avec les parlementaires, sa sainteté a discuté du travail humanitaire de la communauté Ahmadiyya et de l'importance de servir les autres malgré la persécution dont elle fait l'objet dans certains pays.
This is why the founder of the Ahmadiyya community claimed that when he appeared, he claimed that I have come for two main purposes. One, to bring human beings closer to their Creator, and secondly, to let the people realize and understand the importance of their duties towards their fellow beings.
En octobre 2016, le Parlement national du Canada a été le lieu d'un nouveau discours historique du 5e calife du Messie, accueilli par le Premier ministre canadien Justin Trudeau et de nombreux invités de marque. Il a appelé à l'égalité, à la justice et à l'unité dans la société, soulignant l'importance du respect des valeurs humaines et de la réalisation d'un monde harmonieux.
In this age, when the fear of Islam is on the increase in much of the world, let me reassure all of you that Islam is not what you commonly see or hear portrayed in the media. As far as my knowledge of Islam is concerned, I only know of that Islam whose teachings are based on its name. The literal meaning of the word Islam is peace, love, and harmony. And all of its teachings are based upon these noble values.
What I'm hearing from His Holiness is this message of peace and bringing people together in the respect of our religious belief, our freedom of expression, and in embracing those diversity all around the world. And I'm happy that he's going there to share those messages to all of us.
The community is my family. I was most recently with you on Thanksgiving. To have time with His Holiness was humbling, overwhelming, and I got to hear his speech, and then we talked afterwards, and He taught me so many lessons, and the one particularly I take to heart, once a friend, always a friend.
Notre voyage s'achève en octobre 2019 au siège de l'UNESCO à Paris, où le calife a prononcé un discours d'ouverture. S'adressant à des dignitaires, des diplomates et des dirigeants de différents domaines, il a souligné l'importance du respect, de la tolérance et de l'éducation des filles. Le calife a souligné qu'il n'y a pas de contradiction entre la science et la religion.
We believe that Islam is a religion of love and compassion. And so we serve humanity without making any distinction based on the religion or ethnicity of those who we help. Where out of human sympathy, we seek to eradicate poverty and destitution. We also consider it to be the key to developing sustainable peace in the world.
Les discours du calife devant les parlements ne sont pas de simples formalités. Ce sont des appels passionnés à la transformation, invitant les dirigeants à mettre de côté leurs intérêts personnels et nationaux en vue d'un monde meilleur. Il cherche à éveiller la conscience des dirigeants et les incite à prendre des mesures audacieuses permettant de se rapprocher d'un monde où règne la paix, la justice et la protection des droits de chaque individu.
अमृत है तेरे बोल तो पैगाम जिंदगी अमृत है तेरे बोल तो पैगाम जिंदगी तेरे सिवा नहीं कोई आवाज वक्त की